Hello, everybody. This is the Anime Bro here, and welcome to another episode of Anime Talk, a show where I basically ask questions about anime or manga to someone else. And today I am with My Name is Doofy, or Doofy.
Yeah, Doofy's fine. It's easier in the mouth.
Yeah. All right. And if you want to actually check his channel out, link will be in the description below. And yeah, let's get right into it. So the first question that I have for you is, what is an anime that you enjoy rewatching?
So I kind of have two answers to this. A series I enjoy rewatching like in full would be like Eden of the East.
Yeah.
But a series that I frequently rewatch like in sections is something like Naruto. With Eden of the East, the reason I always find myself going back to it is because I started watching it at a time when I first really got into anime and manga.
Yeah.
So this was, I don't know, probably like fall of 2013, I guess. And I just associate Eden of the East with that era. Like, I don't know, there's something about every time that the fall comes on that I'm reminded of the time I first got into anime and manga. This is one of the first series I think about. And I think because of that, I've turned back to it like several times. I probably rewatched it like 4 or 5 times, I guess, at this point. But the other reason I find myself always drawn to it is I really relate to the protagonist, Akira Takizawa. There's just something about his like goofy demeanor that has always been charming to me, and I could always see a bit of myself in, but also his ability to just kind of, step up for, I guess, what he values. And it's a basic kind of message. It's not something terribly complex, but it's just a kind of simple message that resonates with me.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why I always go back to Eden of the East. Like Takizawa is one of my favorite anime characters of all time.
Yeah.
So that paired with just, I guess, almost at this point an overall star to the series, keep turning back to it.
Okay. So you've told me about this. You told me about, or you gave me like a summary of it, and I do gotta say it is pretty weird. I don't know if I might give this a watch. I think I actually have to watch it to understand what you were saying, but I don't know.
Yeah, that first scene, I think it's a nice shock, because we're met with this girl Saki. She's just throwing rocks at the White House, and obviously that's an act that's worthy of. I think that's an offense. I'm not sure. I don't know nothing about law in the United States. I can tell you though, like socially, it's probably not something that's acceptable.
Yeah.
However, as the cops approach her, across the street we see Mr. Takizawa, nothing but a gun and a phone in his hand. Now, they censor out his piece, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But obviously that draws the cops away from Saki and towards him, which prompts him to leave. But this is kind of the interesting part, of course, as I mentioned to you before, is that Takizawa has no memory of like why the fuck he's naked in front of the White House. Like he's just there. He has a gun. He has a phone. And the beauty of the story is like him trying to figure out and regain his memories, I guess, and continue with his original objective. So it's not as shocking, I think, as I'm presenting it, because we have to remember like he's completely like intellectually innocent to the extent that he really doesn't know why the fuck he's there, why he has a gun, why he's naked. But I mean that external factors very much are quite interesting, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So I can't say anything about this. I can't say if it's good or bad, so we'll just end it there. And we'll get into Naruto, because I'm more familiar with Naruto. It's one of the big 3, and if you didn't get in through Dragon Ball, you most likely got through in Naruto. And
and I certainly fall in that category.
I honestly, to me, I don't find the appeal of Naruto as a character. Like Naruto as a series, when I got into, like when I saw like the world building and stuff, I was like really amazed and all that. But I just didn't like Naruto himself. That was my issue. And so I kind of pushed myself to watch a lot of Naruto. Like I got through the first part, like the first anime, and then I realized like half of it was filler, so I just wasted half my time with that. But yeah, so as a person who rewatches this, is it, I guess, what would you say is like a part you enjoy rewatching?
Well, the part that I probably rewatched the most is like just from the war arc at the end of Shippuden, which is obviously highly criticized for its ending. not enough deaths, unnecessary deaths, etc. Like there's a whole slew of, I think, really sound criticisms.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, they're not so significant that they hold back my enjoyment of this arc, because damn it, it has some of the best peaks in all of anime and manga. There's the obvious Sasuke versus Naruto, Kakashi versus Obito at the end that people love to hype up. Nobody's contesting that. These are obvious things that I find myself revisiting time and time again. But even like less critically acclaimed aspects, I love going back to rewatch. So for instance, Sasuke reviving all of the Kage or the Hokage to try and figure out more about of the Leaf Village, and the origins between the beef with Hashirama, or I guess the Senju and the Uchiha generally.
Yeah.
I know for someone like you, like that would be something that's more interesting also, because this is where you get a lot of the world building. Why are the villages structured the way that they are? How do we get here? What was it like before this kind of village system in the kind of academy in each of those villages? So I love it for that. Also, this is the first time we really see the personality of the first and second Hokages. Very shocking. First Hokage and the second Hokage is this strict, damn near race the Uchiha. But they have an interesting dynamic, which I appreciate. Also, there are little things I love. Also, when they enter the battlefield and we see Naruto meet Minato for the first time, there's something really powerful about that. But also seeing the second Hokage admire the fourth Hokage for essentially using a lot of his techniques, but better. Most notably the Flying Raijin, which is like that teleportation technique that the fourth is famous for using, but was actually created by the second Hokage. When he said faster than me, like he did it way better. There's little things like that, just because they obviously never would have met. Tobirama was dead long before Minato came into the picture. But just seeing these interactions we wouldn't have had otherwise, I quite love. Another moment that I find myself returning to is Naruto when he first speaks to his mom. That's another really moving moment. Kind of a high emotion I myself return to, I guess, because I'm just a sucker for crying. This is also why I'll rewatch Pain versus Jiraiya and Jiraiya's death. But it is, the more I think about it, it's mainly Shippuden. And not to say that the original is bad or significantly worse, because I love it. I think, like, conventionally, it has some of the best writing in the series at times, and a lot of the fights in the Chunin exams are amazing. I think the way Orochimaru is portrayed in that series is amazing. But there's just, I guess, more heightened emotions in Shippuden because you have so much more background for each of these characters now at that point.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I think you will also get this in One Piece. Just to clarify, this guy only read to 100 chapters, and it's okay, but you think you should push on more, because you also get that in One Piece, especially since it's like so long and stuff. And I'll tell you right now, I haven't seen Naruto's the Fourth Great Shinobi War, but if it's something like the Marineford arc where it was like crazy and stuff like that, then I actually might give Naruto a watch, because like right now the highest arc I've ever praised is like Marineford, because of how crazy it does and also how much it affects the story, not only just Luffy but also the world itself. So and if it's something like that, then I actually might continue giving Naruto a watch. And yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I'm just gonna say I don't think you will like the Fourth Great Shinobi War much. Like Marineford is almost universally held in high regard. Like, yeah, I don't love the first 100 chapters of One Piece, but I'm willing to kind of push through even more because I know Marineford is going to blow my mind. Yeah. With Naruto, I'm not confident you'll have that same kind of reward that I might find with I guess Marineford. Even though it is similar to Marineford to the extent that we are kind of still feeling the impact of the Fourth Great Shinobi War in Boruto, simply because Kaguya and the Otsutsuki or whatever are still like the primary targets or the primary antagonists in Boruto, and their mission is intimately related to what happened at the end of the Fourth Great Shinobi War, because as we find out, Kaguya kind of just said originally the Otsutsuki are supposed to come in pairs, but Kaguya's like, fuck that, I'm gonna be doing this solo style, and it obviously didn't go her way. But Ishiki, who's now kind of the main antagonist, was I believe Ishiki was supposed to be her partner, and so he's kind of around trying to like fix what she messed up, and he's got to do a bunch of stuff over and blah 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 blah. So it's like, yeah, we still kind of feel the impacts of the Fourth Great Shinobi War, but there's just so many places that Boruto mishandles that idea that I don't know if it's a worth. I'm just such a diehard Naruto fan. I am supremely charitable towards that series. I will find a way to make anything in that series work. So obviously, I don't expect other people to have the same outlook. And trying to be less generous, I could say maybe not worth it.
Yeah.
Not to say that I don't think it is like technically amazing on many points. I just think that I'm doing a lot of work to get it as high as I have it, and I kind of recognize that.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same with One Piece, even the small flaws that it may have, I still always try to find a way to make it work. So, yeah. Totally forgot this was the first question. Holy crap.
Yeah, no worries. I guess let's get on with the next one, eh?
Yeah, let's get into the next one. All right, so the second question, what is a guilty pleasure of yours?
So, okay, officially, I've got a video on guilty pleasures. And the punchline is just like, I think it's a stupid concept because I think ultimately if you like something, you should just own it. But because I don't want to have that weird philosophical waving away of the question, I'm just going to answer it the way that you intended me to answer it. And my answer is probably Curry because, I mean, it plays up the fan service.
I couldn't really hear
Kakegurui.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I don't know that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I heard the name.
It's like the gambling anime.
Okay, yeah, I know that. Okay, yeah, my cousin's obsessed.
You would recognize it, I think, if you saw it.
I have a cousin who's, I don't think obsessed, but he talks about it a lot, so I'm thinking he's obsessed. Like, then again, he's into weird.
Yeah.
He's into High School DxD, so honestly.
Oh, well, it makes sense then.
Yeah.
And this is why it's my guilty pleasure because let's face it, it's playing up the fan service, and they're in high school, so that's kind of morally reprehensible. And on that account, I think that's grounds for calling it a guilty pleasure. Yeah. But goddamn, I think that anime is super fun. Like, I love the different gambling matches they find themselves in. I think the characters are likable. I genuinely, the amount of enjoyment I get out of this is equal to, if not more than what I had with like Code Geass, for example. Which I think generally positively of both, but like there's just something so fun about Kakegurui that I don't know, I loved, and I can't wait for I think they're adapting Kakegurui twins into an anime series, so I'm really excited for that. But yeah, I'd say that's probably my guilty pleasure.
Well, I don't know about this, but I know kanji, and that's totally not whatever that was. Like I see clips of it, and I'm like, is this a gambling anime or is this ecchi anime? I can't even tell because it's like on one hand it's like, yeah, cool gambling thing, you gamble stuff, but then on the other hand it's like, I could see why people like it, and I don't think it's because of the gambling that they like it. So
yeah. Hey, for the record, I precisely like it for that reason. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like one of my favorite characters in the show is Mary, and she is, I don't think her physical appearance is played up in the same way as say Yumiko's, so I feel a little more less guilty, I guess you could say, but I think there are still reasons to feel guilt about this one, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say that even though I haven't seen it, I think I'll stick with kanji because at least that one, it's about gambling, and this guy could die at any moment, so yeah. Yeah. I guess that's it for the question number 2. Can't go into a deep conversation because I haven't seen it and probably will not see it. And yeah, that's it.
You're missing out, bud. That's all I'm saying. You're missing out.
Okay. All right. All right, let's get into question number 3. So, what is an anime you've been enjoying recently?
That's a good-ass question because, frankly, I haven't been watching much anime lately. Though I did do my best.
Because I'm going to be releasing this in the next year. So this was released before December. So if there's like Attack on Titan and all that stuff, don't get mad because it hasn't come out yet. So
yes, that's important context. So it's currently fall 2021, and I have been trying to keep up with a few series. Yeah. The 2 that I think are kind of taking the spotlight for me are Komi Can't Communicate. That's the first one.
Okay, yeah, I know that one.
I think that's just a well-adapted anime. I think it does a good job kind of capturing the spirit of the manga. I'm in love with, the kind of ideas around Komi, just how she wants to make 100 friends, but she's obviously having trouble doing so.
Yeah.
And at this at the school, we find that most students have some kind of like social ineptness. Is that the right word when you lack something? Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, a lot of these kids at the school don't have that kind of social proficiency, or like there's something about them that isn't quite. I don't want to say right as if that they are wrong or lesser, but I don't know any other way to phrase it.
They're very unique.
Yeah, they're all very unique, and just seeing how Komi tries to befriend all these characters through the main guy whose name I've already forgotten, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's some interesting circumstances, but also just the way that they try to write Komi's character in terms of like her attempting to express herself when she is so clearly, well, she just can't, she can't talk, she can barely talk, and just seeing like the subtle progression from her out of this kind of withdrawnness and attempting to be social. I think they do quite a great job with that.
Yeah.
The other one is, interestingly, Digimon Ghost Game.
I didn't know Digimon continued making anime.
Oh yeah, they're still going strong. Like they did it like a Digimon Adventure semi recently, and that was like a pretty big success. But Digimon Ghost Game is like a whole new spin on the series. Not whole new, I guess, but it is a new cast with new Digimon. It's Digimon. It's still oriented towards kids, and there's not this kind of grand complexity behind it. But to me, like Toei really stepped up their game with animation. Like I think it looks amazing. I've never seen Toei do something so good in my life. I'm actually like genuinely blown away every episode.
Yeah.
I just find the cast fun, likable. It's one of those shows where it's easy to just turn the brain off and just relax and relive your childhood almost. And I think I like that most. So I guess the one thing you can kind of get to know the most about me from this video is how sentimental I am, I guess, and how a lot of my evaluations are highly based on just my feelings. I mean, Eden East I go back to because, practically nostalgia. Naruto I go back to practically because of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Digimon Ghost Game, lets me relive my childhood, like nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing, I give all these big philosophical arguments to justify all these different ways to rank anime. But at the end of the day, I'm coming here for fun, and these are the things I have the most fun with.
Yep.
So
sometimes the simplest answer is always the right one.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So I have seen those two. Well, actually, I haven't seen the Komi Can't Communicate because I read the manga, and for the longest time I was like, yeah, there's no way this is gonna get an anime because it was like 300 chapters, and I was like, if they were gonna make this an anime, they would have done this earlier. And when I actually saw that, I was like, oh, I guess it is getting an anime.
Yeah.
But I decided not to watch it because I was like, I already read like 300 chapters of this. I'm just gonna stick with the manga, and it's really hard for me to rewatch things. It takes a really hard thing to do with it.
I kind of agree with that. I think that's why I ended up dropping Tokyo Revengers. I'd already caught up to the manga for a while, and I watched 10 episodes of it. It was cool, but I already got the story once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I interestingly, I find it easier to go from anime to manga than from manga to anime. So, like, after I finished the Bleach anime, I immediately went and read the manga, and that was fine.
Yeah.
But to read the manga, I think right after that, or around that time, I had read all of Tokyo Revengers.
Yeah.
And then I had difficulty going to the anime. So I feel like this is something that happens to me frequently. So it's just something interesting, I guess.
Yeah. And with Digimon, I haven't rewatched new ones because I grew up a Digimon kid. I didn't really care for Pokemon.
Nice.
I grew up with Digimon, and I gotta say, Digimon was pretty cool. And I remember it was on this. I don't know if they have that in Canada, but Jetix, they had this in America.
Yes, we had Jetix too.
Oh yeah. I used to watch Digimon on that, and I was like, holy crap, this is so cool. And it was really cool seeing like the new teenager ones. Like when they had teenager ones, I was like, holy crap, this is totally different. And also like it had a progressing story, so I was like, I had to actually come back next week or like the day after. I don't know if they were reruns, but
Yeah.
I had to come back and I was like, okay, what's happening next? And then if I missed a week, I was like, oh man, what just happened? What just happened? I was like so excited. I remember that. It was just like, I remember the Digimon. The Digimon actually brings back good memories.
Yeah, nice. I agree. Like, I think I was more invested in the concept of Pokemon. Like, I was big in the games. I watched all the anime,
Yeah.
but like I always appreciated Digimon for like how much more structured it was. I felt like there was a finer attention to world building and just constructing a more comprehensive narrative that you don't necessarily have with early Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I mean, you probably don't even have that so much now. I feel like there's loose overarching stories that it kind of maintains, but you don't get like a serious Pokemon unless it's like an OVA of some sort, like Pokemon Origins or Generations.
Yeah. That is true. And also, one thing I didn't like about Pokemon was Ash always lost. So I was like, what's the point? Like, he comes so close, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, not this year. Until Sun and Moon. When I watched that, I was like, holy crap, he actually won.
Yeah, I kind of like that about him, though. You know, I feel like with a lot of battle shonen, it's you kind of just assume the protagonist is gonna get what he wants. Like you just assume Naruto is gonna become Hokage. You just assume Asta is gonna become like the Wizard King. You just assume Luffy is gonna become the Pirate King.
Yeah.
But with Pokemon, like you couldn't just assume Ash to be the Pokemon Master because he's shown us time and time again for over a decade that he could not become the master of Pokemon.
Yeah.
He did eventually, but like I feel like after so long, people just distrusted that he would ever do that.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, actually a pretty nice, mind you, a rather subtle twist, but a twist no less.
Yeah. But yeah, all we're saying is that nostalgia is a good thing, and it's good to come back to those animes and relive those good moments, like especially Digimon. I remember that Digimon was really good, and I should really get back into that. That's actually bringing back memories, and now I'm gonna rewatch Digimon after this.
Nice. I'm really big in a lot of those like nostalgic anime. Like my favorite character of all time is Judai Yuki from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. And people always look at me like with 10 heads when I say that because they're like, dude, Yu-Gi-Oh! That's for kids. But they only ever say that for two reasons.
Okay,
One,
I didn't like GX actually.
Oh, bro, it's personal now. It's personal. Damn.
I liked, not gonna lie, I liked 5DS better.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I can actually like that's a totally respectable opinion. Because 5Ds is like I think the first Yu-Gi-Oh to take like the kind of narrative and set up a little more seriously, and I think Yusei's a little more of a mature protagonist. What I liked about GX though was like how incredible the development of the cast was. I genuinely haven't seen another anime, except maybe Naruto, that has undergone like such development. Because very much when you watch the first season of GX, you see Judai being an absolute like child, like he's so juvenile. Yeah. But by the end of the fourth season, like the maturity he exhibits is just like it's incredible. And it's a very subtle development across those 4 seasons. All the events that Judai undergo really contribute to his development and who he will become at the end of the series. Yeah. It's night and day from season 4 to season 1, and I don't know if I've ever seen such vast development so carefully done, other than maybe Sasuke. It's truly incredible, and I love that. I really relate to Judai in a lot of aspects. But even beyond that, I think that like the dub is just hilarious at times. Like ironically hilarious, sure, but like there's just some stupid jokes that make me laugh. Like for instance, when Edo Phoenix was trying to, I guess, challenge Judai, he was like, in the dub, he says, "I want to challenge somebody. I'm not going to say his name, but it rhymes with Schmaden Schmoopy." And it's just like, it's so stupid. Or when Rio first fights in like the underground and he's facing like this big buff dude. In the anime, it's like, "My mommy says that you're gonna get," like, and it's just like a stupid baby voice, and it's so dumb, but like it makes me laugh. But then you watch the sub and it's like there's actually like season 3 and 4 are super. I mean, yes, it's still a fucking game, like show about a kid's card game, sure, that's always there. But if you can just take it seriously. Just buy into the world for once. Just kind of don't be too critical on that premise. Just let yourself be immersed in it. If you can do that, like season 3 and 4 will genuinely blow you away. Now, there's certainly like these, little goofy moments in between that, remind you it's a kid's show. But it tackles some mature themes with like some kind of surprising depth in a kind of dark way.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the 3rd season, Ryo's implied to have died, like because he literally has shock collars on him all the time, and he wins the duel, I guess, against Yubel. I don't remember, or Supreme King, I mean, and he's implied to have just fucking died.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't actually. In the 4th season, he comes back and he's in a wheelchair, and I fucking hate that. But yeah, it's just so surprising to me, like how much depth it goes into a lot of these themes, and in a rather dark way in season 3 and 4 in particular. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, fuck, it's still a kid show at the end of the day, so it's not going to be like Guts getting raped as a child dark.
Yeah,
but
not gonna
you know what?
But
like, it's going to be comparatively dark, and if you can understand that, I think you're going to get a lot out of it. But it's hard to. I don't expect like a 20-year-old man to be able to watch GX if they haven't watched it in their life, or if they haven't watched it since they were a kid, and give it this fair shake. This is something I had to develop over time, and again, I have this overwhelming charitability towards it because I'm so nostalgic all the time. But yeah.
So basically, at the end of the day, we're saying nostalgia is good, and Yu-Gi-Oh is better than Pokemon. So yeah.
Yes. Oh, dude, facts. No, not even a question about that.
Yeah, we agree on that.
Sir.
We may have different opinions on which part we like, but we agree that, and that's very important.
So wait, how many of the Yu-Gi-Oh series have you seen?
I've seen up to Zexal, actually. Like I've seen Zexal. I actually Arc 5 as well. Haven't finished it, but I've already been spoiled the ending, so I'm not gonna finish it. Vrains, that was weird. I kind of stopped. I'm wanting to get into the new one, Sevens. That one's actually
really.
And that one was interesting because it was like, that one was like really young because these kids were in elementary school, and I was like, how's this gonna work? But,
see, I thought Zexal and like Arc 5 were almost a step back because they seem to be a lot more juvenile, especially in light of like 5D. Like 5Ds was genuinely like probably the most serious the franchise has ever taken itself, except for maybe the manga of the original. But like Vrains seemed to almost go back to something a little more serious. So I'm surprised to hear you. I haven't watched it. I can't obviously say anything for certain, but I was just surprised to hear that you were kind of like iffy about it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Vrains that I had was that it would look like it was taking a serious note like 5Ds, but it still acted like a kid. Like it's still put in a way where it was like, is it really being serious? Because it's very like, the tones are a lot brighter than, because the character has like a secret backstory that he's trying to figure out, and it's just like, yeah, this is serious, but this AI thing is very funny and all that. So it's like, are you trying to be serious, or are you trying to be funny? Because you could do both, but you're not doing it pretty well. So that was my problem with Vrains. But the new Yu-Gi-Oh, that one's actually, I'm getting interested into that one.
If you had to rank the Yu-Gi-Oh you've seen, how would you roughly rank them? Here, right now.
Okay, so lowest would probably be, it's really hard. I think it would be Vrains, and then Zexal will be next.
Have you finished Zexal?
Well, Zexal to me felt like, honestly, with Zexal, my problem was with the main guy, because that guy could not duel for anything. He needed his helper. So it was like, this guy was a loser until he got his helper out, which was not like Yugi at all, because it seemed like Yugi was actually a good dueler, even without the Pharaoh. So it was like, okay, he still has some skills. It's just the Pharaoh gives him like a very good buff and stuff like that. So and then after that, I think I would probably go Arc 5, because that one, there was a lot of dimension hopping. I did like the nostalgia to GX and 5Ds, but that was basically all I have to say. The nostalgia was pretty good, but that was it.
I saw those scenes, and those looked pretty like damn cool, to be honest. Like I know Edo returned, and like a few other, like I think, did Crow return as well?
Yeah, Crow did return. Right? He returned. Jack returned.
Yeah. I guess Lexus did too.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But all I know, like I only watched like the first 24 episodes of Zexal.
Mm.
I dropped it because I agree Yuma's unbearable. I do hear though that like Zexal 2 or like the second half is actually pretty damn good. I wouldn't know. I never got there, but Newberton actually, who you've had on Anime Talk, advocates like pretty strongly for Zexal because of that second half.
Yeah.
But he's willing, I think, to concede that the first half is neither here nor there. Yeah. But please don't let me detract you. Continue with your ranking. I'm really interested right now.
So I did Reigns, I did Zexal, I did Arc 5. All right, so next would probably be Sevens, only because it's not finished yet. I really do enjoy it. Like it's not trying to be serious. It has serious moments, but through the whole show, it's like, he's enjoying school and he's enjoying doing his own thing. So I'm like, okay, they have like this serious thing, but they're not shoving it down my throat and also trying to do this. They're not trying to have their cake and eat it too. They know what they want and they're doing it, and it's really well. Next would probably be GX, because honestly, the school setting was really interesting. I really did like it because it helped build the world building. Like, you could actually go to a school with this, but it also was like, I think with me, it was, I didn't know what, like, Jaden didn't seem like he was fine staying in the same place, but, well, and also, like, the school system was whack. Like, as long as you were good with the duels, it didn't matter if your paperwork was, like, low. And everyone seemed to follow Jaden as he does this, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's not a good role model. Like, if I had a kid going to this school, I'd be like, yeah, this is your role model. I think I'm better off going to like a second-hand dueling school.
Yeah. I will say though, actually, you bring up a interesting point about like the school system kind of fleshing out the world of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
That reminds me, like the world building in GX is something I think people sleep on because, for better or for worse, you can probably map out every part of that island with considerable detail by the end of that series. And I don't think any other Yu-Gi-Oh goes to the same extent. I think it's mainly because a lot of them, are in cities, and obviously you can't have the same kind of depth with a city. There's obviously places you're just going to ignore.
Yeah.
But with GX, like that island, like everything about it by the end of that series. I think that's they do that so well, and I don't think people are willing to ever acknowledge that.
And also, I guess another thing I really do like is that it connects itself with the original series. Like, you got like Maximilian Pegasus, you got like Seto Kaiba's the Kaiba Core, you got all these things, so it like connects. Even Yugi makes a return, which I honestly do gotta say, Yugi versus Jaden, that was a really cool fight, really amazing, and I really did enjoy that. Next would be the original Yugi series, the original series. I would put this mostly because I watched the Japanese sub. And I do gotta say, the Japanese sub is way better than, especially the OSTs. Man, when I watched the dub, I was like,
dude.
Like, there was one moment I really enjoyed. It was when Kaiba defied, he said he sacrificed God, and I was like, holy crap. And at the dub point, I was like, oh, this is enjoyable. Then I watched the sub point, and I'm like, holy crap, this is better. There's this music playing and all that stuff. And the dub, it was like silent. I'm like, man, this is bad. This is really bad.
Yeah. Dude, I cannot agree more. I haven't watched the whole of OG in subbed. I've watched a lot of it though, because I love the voice acting in the English, and they actually did an uncensored version that was very good, but they only got like 6 episodes into, and they're hard to find. But like, if they would have continued that would have been like the definitive version.
Yeah, honestly.
But like watching the Japanese version is a whole other experience. Same with GX, and that's why I think so highly of GX, because I've watched it in both sub and dub, and again, like just dub Yu-Gi-Oh just goes harder. But like with the original, dude, the one scene that always sticks out to me is Yugi versus Weevil on the train, because like, one, the soundtrack, I don't know why the anime wasted money making a new soundtrack when the Japanese soundtrack was brilliant. But two, like there's more like fury in Yugi during that duel. There's like the famous scene where Break of the Magical Warrior just like continuously beats Weevil even though the duel's over.
Yeah.
Because Yugi gets a card that allows him to keep drawing or keep attacking as long as he draws monsters.
Yeah.
And so the meme is Draw Monstacado.
Yeah.
Draw Monstucado. And
Yeah.
like that with like the probably the best soundtrack in the franchise.
Yeah.
Just oh my it's and then Taya runs up to Yugi and is like, Yugi, stop, it's over. I don't like that was one of the rare moments where the original Yu-Gi-Oh was just like kind of dark. Like you just saw, the Pharaoh get taken over by like this kind of just blind rage and fury against Weevil. And I do have it lower than GX though, only because I feel like it never gets to the same depths as say season 3 or season 4 GX. And I do think that like Duelist Kingdom has a lot of slow points. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's still a fantastic show. I'm so sympathetic towards Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think the OG is still pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta say, my favorite actual duel isn't with like most people say like the best duel in the original one was Pharaoh versus Yugi, but to me, I think the one I really liked was Yugi versus Kaiba before they in Duelist Kingdom, right before they actually fight for Pegasus, because it was the first time where, like, Kaiba wasn't dueling to be number one. He was dueling to get his brother, and at the very end, when he's like at the edge of the castle and being like, okay, so this is how it's gonna go. Either you win and I fall and die, or I win and I'm still alive, and you still have a moral conscience in it. And it's like, you see that struggle with Yugi, and I'm like, normally I would be like, oh man, Kaiba's like a scumbag. He's playing dirty tricks, but I'm like, he's going for it because it's for his brother. It's like, man, I respect this guy. He's taking this seriously, and like everyone else is like, man, get off that ledge. You can't, Yugi's not gonna do it. And it's like when Yugi was about to do it, I was like, holy crap, is Kaiba gonna die? And then he stops, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's still alive.
Yeah, man, you're right. Like, I mean, Yugi versus Pharaoh is obviously amazing, but I just think there are so many amazing duels in the original and GX, but like also the original. The one that comes to mind immediately is Merrick versus Joey. I thought that fight was like amazing. There wasn't any particular reason why.
Oh my goodness. That one was like the one time where I was like, you kidding me? The ending of that duel, like Joey. So for those who don't know, Joey was gonna totally win.
It was like the first time where.
Oh yeah, you continue.
Yeah. No, you please.
Oh yeah.
So
at the end of this, at this duel, like normally either two things will happen. Well, one thing that was definitely supposed to happen was Joey was going to lose, and if he lost like legitimate, and I would have been like, okay, that's understandable. So how Joey loses this duel isn't because he loses life points. It's because he passes out because he was in the Shadow Realm. And I'm like, that's how he lost? Not because, I was outsmarted. It was because he passed out. And I'm thinking, if he just he was literally one card away from winning. And that's how they ended. And I was like, this is dumb. I wanted him to win because he when he took that blow and he actually survived, I was like, okay, Joey deserves this win. He literally took like attack from God. And I was just angry. I was just really angry about that.
I share your frustration, but I almost like that, like how he lost. I mean, like all things considered, in terms of the card game, he would have won, provided there wasn't this weird mystical thing happening around him. But it's precisely that weird mysticism in Yu-Gi-Oh! That I love so much. If it was just a card game and about who won on the basis of being the better card player, I think the show would be a whole lot less interesting. I kind of like the psychological and like the, I guess even physical when it comes to this weird like mysticism. Like that's the shit that's cool to me. So, I mean, just again, like this presence to Merrick, and I guess they're dueling the Shadow Realm. Because Merrick has blah blah blah, has Little Rod or something like that.
You
know how Yu-Gi-Oh is. It's interesting to me. Like it makes it funner. Same reason why, like, when Yugi fought Arcana and like the Soul Blades were coming towards them.
Yeah.
Again, like, yeah, sure, it's a card game, but the added pressure of like physical harm, I guess, is something that I think is always present in a lot of these games, and it gives it a little more life than just a card game. Because let's face it, if we were valuing these duels just on how they played the card game, like, it's very boring. Like, it's like OG Yu-Gi-Oh format. It's literally like just beat them down, and there's more effective ways you can do that, so there's lots to criticize, but it's because of like the meaning each card has relative to who's using it and who it's used against, and the context in which it's being used, and the different things going on at that. So I mean, like, did he die in a kind of weird way, or did he lose in a weird way? Yeah, sure, but I think that's why Yu-Gi-Oh is good.
And then I guess finally, obviously, the last one to leave out is 5Ds. This one, because I grew up with 5Ds, so it was on Cartoon Network. I really found it interesting. And also, not gonna lie, this was the only one that actually had, I think, a actual ship that actually ended at the very end, which was totally forgot their names. Dang it! This is my favorite series, and I don't know their names. Oh, I'm so bad with them. So the main guy and the sidekick girl, they apparently in the Japanese one they ended up together, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. But also because I grew up with it, and also it was the most serious, and when it was serious, it wasn't like, oh, let's have some little comedy. It was like, when it got serious, and people actually died in this show. So, like, the other ones, they did die, but this one was like, even in the dub, it was like, yeah, there's no way that girl's coming back. She's gone. She's totally gone. And
I can only assume you mean Yusei and Akiza, right? Like them getting together at the end? Yeah,
that was...
my one issue with, like, 5Ds, at least, like, Akiza is initially like this really, like, she's badass, like, early on when she's first introduced, but like they just kind of forget about her after she kind of becomes like a part of the main cast. Like, she just becomes like a whatever character, and that always frustrated me. She had so much potential, and they just kind of just bumbled it, I guess. I hate that.
A lot of people hate this, mostly because it's like, oh, look, they just added a car in the dueling, and even though that wasn't like, I wasn't really focused on that, I still like the duels. They still had, like, you know, the normal duels where one guy stands on one side and one guy stands on the other. It's just, I really like this. It was a serious story that they did well, and if I had the time, I probably would watch it again.
Yeah. If I could, I'd rewatch it also. It's just been so long, and it is a really great story.
Yeah.
Were you around when it first kind of like came out, like when it was announced?
Not when it was announced. I got into it, I think it was a lot, like, when I got into it, there was already a whole bunch of stuff done. Because when I rewatched it, I was like, man, I missed a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But but when I got into it, that's when they're like, that's when they were selling the 5DS cards, and at the time I was like, wow, this is really interesting, and I got some of the cards. I lost some of them because I forgot to check my pockets before I put my clothes in the washing machine, so most of my cards are destroyed now, so it really sucks. But
I only asked because when 5Ds first came out, I remember everyone was clowning on it. You know, they were all making fun of card games on motorcycles.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously that was more significant, I think, in the earlier seasons.
Yeah.
Not to say that, you know, present later on, but ultimately, there was obviously very good non-card game or non-motorcycle games.
Yeah.
And even like the motorcycle games were pretty fucking cool. Like the speed duels, is that what they're called? Speed duels? Or am I making that up?
Speed duels.
They were kind of cool. Like, I mean, obviously the idea originally was kind of like, oh my god, card games on motorcycle, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Who the fuck came up with this shit? But like, when you actually watch it, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. And the only problem I have with it is I still do not get synchronization summoning. Even to this day, it is very hard for me to understand. And even when I play like Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links and stuff, I can't do it. So I'm sticking with either Fusion or XYZ Z summons. XC summons.
Really?
Yeah, it got confusing because it's like, okay, then you need this specific tuner. So to me it was like, how do you set up a duel like this? Like with Exceeds, it was like, okay, you just needed this amount of summons, and with like Fusion, it was like, okay, if you have a special Fusion summon card, then you can summon a Fusion. But let's not get too deep into this. It's just synchronization was really tough for me to do.
Maybe it's because I grew up, or at least when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh competitively, it was during the 5Ds era. I was obviously like, I was there when they introduced synchros, and I was also there, when they died because Xyz just took them over.
Yeah.
But I found it, like, I guess it is slightly more difficult than with Xyz, where if you just have 2 level 4 monsters, you can get a rank 4 Xyz.
Yeah.
Whereas, a level 8 synchro requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters whose levels rank up to, level 8.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a pretty easy mechanic. One that I quite like, again. But again, I am just sympathetic to the fact that this was when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So, like, I really like, I don't know, like Shooting Star Dragon decks. That shit was always crazy to me, all the synchros that they would have to use to get Shooting Star Dragon out.
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to say critically. That's my favorite area of Yu-Gi-Oh! To play, but I guess it's also because it was, like, the area that I played most. So, yeah, of course. Likewise, like, I grew up while GX was coming out. Of course it'd be my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, fuck it. The thing you can be most critical about me is the fact that I am, like, super sympathetic to things that I grew up with, and the particular things that I like. But god damn it, I will find the best arguments to say that what I grew up with is the best.
Yeah, same here. I just realized this is only question 3, and we are really stretching this, but we are the Yu-Gi-Oh! Nerds. We believe that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is better than Pokemon. Not sure about Digimon, that's debatable, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is better than Pokemon. So Pokemon fans, just we don't care.
We do not. If you want to hear 2 more other really crazy claims, I have the original Yu-Gi-Oh!, 5Ds, and GX, all above Code Geass. And I have GX above Hunter x Hunter. So that's just a little something for you guys to chew on.
Code Geass, yeah. Also Hunter x Hunter, because honestly I gave up after the... I tell people a lot, I gave up after the MMO arc because I was like, yeah, this is not realistic. You can't beat an MMO. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on to question 4. So, are you part of any fandom?
Maybe the Naruto fandom.
Okay. So
maybe it's difficult though. I mean, because this is my problem with Twitter, for instance. Those motherfuckers only ever talk about 10 series, and it becomes nauseating. Like, I love Naruto. Yeah. Literally my favorite piece of fiction ever. By a long shot, to be honest. But, like, Slasher Storm, for instance, only ever talks about Naruto. And he's not even saying anything profound. He's just saying Naruto's better than some other popular series. Yeah. It's just so, like, boring to me. I don't know how you can literally spend all day thinking about Naruto in a way that isn't, like, fun. Yeah. Because to me, just thinking, typing, and talking about Naruto being better than JoJo's is like, I don't care. Like, that's, you're not actually giving me arguments why you think Naruto's better. You're just saying, like, really basic sentences like Sasuke is the best written character of all time. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. But you're not, like, the fun in that is thinking about why he's the best written character of all time. And that's just noticeably absent from any discussion about it. Yeah. And so to bring it back to this discussion about fandoms, like, I don't know if I entirely identify with the Naruto fandom, because that's 90% of them. They're like, Naruto just is better than One Piece. I'm like, cool, I agree. Yeah. But why? Like, let's talk about it. Let's not just say these big conclusions. Let's actually have the discussion. Yeah. And that bothers me. Yeah. So it's difficult for me to identify with any fandom, but if I was going to, it would probably be Naruto, just because of how committed I am to it, how much I know about it, and how much I engage with it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now, you're probably the best Naruto fan, because you did not say any of these shows were lower than Naruto. Like, you did constantly bring up Naruto, so that's a good plus. So you're already doing pretty well for a Naruto fan.
Thank you. I mean, like I said, it just gets boring. Like, I don't even want to talk about Naruto all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just gotta branch out, but these die-hard Naruto fans know nothing else, and they're not willing to admit any other show in their top 5. It's like it's gotta just
like
be
Dragon
Naruto,
Ball
and that's
fans.
it. I haven't honestly. I might have had even more positive encounters with Dragon Ball fans because, yeah, interestingly, I think that Dragon Ball fans. Now, this is obviously just based off my few experiences, but a lot of the people I know that like Dragon Ball have seen a fuckload of anime, but just keep going back to Dragon Ball because, like, it's that classic anime that did it all. Like, it started a lot of these battle shonen. They have nostalgia for it. It does do some things pretty damn well at that as well. Yeah. And I just think that kind of attitude about Dragon Ball is pretty damn good. Yeah. Now, I'm sure I've come into contact with some like Dragon Ball super fans that are pretty toxic. But I think like people that have Dragon Ball Z Kai as their favorite, I think they're pretty good.
Well, I guess just any person who's in the fandom of a popular anime is probably going to be really toxic, because especially like the big three, those are like toxic fan, and also Dragon Ball's also up there. Those are probably toxic fandoms. Like I think when Bleach was announced, I think all those Bleach fans were like coming out. They were like going crazy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And now they're probably gonna be disappointed because the final arc still hasn't been released yet.
I will say though, I think prior to the announcement of the 1,000 Year Blood War arc anime, I would have said Bleach fans were the best fan base. I remember even tweeting about this. Like, fuck you mean the Bleach fandom is toxic? Bro, it's literally me and 3 other guys.
Yeah.
Because, like, literally nobody cared. Like, it had long since finished. There was no anime coming out. Yeah. That was it. And generally, like, it was a pretty tame fan base, but yeah. The moment the anime got released, people were, like, so much more heated and invested in discussing Bleach, and that just led to a bunch of toxicity that, yeah, it's, like you said, it's eminent in any long-running big popular battle shonen.
Yeah.
Hunter x Hunter, any of the big 3, Dragon Ball. I mean, probably Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, even, I'd assume.
Yeah, which kind of is sad, especially because usually people look at the fandoms and that's what usually brings them away. It's not like, oh, the show is bad. It's just, their friend who's super into this won't be quiet and just makes it more annoying, which sadly is the JoJo fandom. They're not toxic, they're just annoying. And
I love making fun of them, god damn.
Yeah.
But you know what?
With the JoJo fan, so.
Yeah. But you know what? Even though I think JoJo's looks like so fucking lame, Stone Ocean? With Jocelyn?
Yeah.
Jolene. Wow. Yeah, Jolene, dude, the opening, the trailer?
Yeah.
Blew my fucking mind, and for the first time in my life I want to watch JoJo. I want to read JoJo, but like I just know the first 3 parts at least are gonna suck ass, and I
so
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Just to let you know, part 2 is overrated. If you really like part 1, worst arc, but it's more like if everything was a 9 to me. If everything was like a 9 out of 10, that's like an 8 out of 10. Part 2. Underrated, actually. Many people say it's like really pretty bad, but it's a really good arc. Part 3, mostly because of how long it is, and yeah, it's mostly length. It's still pretty good. It's just, lengthwise, it does take a long time to get there.
I think once I get to 4, I'll be having fun. But 1 to 3, damn it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Annie, bro. I don't want to do it. Part of me almost wants to watch Stone Ocean without anything else.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
But I just won't understand it because, like, Jolene takes... Like, I think from what I've been told, and you can probably tell me more than anyone, what the series does right is, like, in reference to other JoJo series.
Yeah. So
like, it's highly referential. Like, isn't she, like, the granddaughter of the guy from part 3?
So she's the daughter of Jotaro.
Yeah. That's his name.
So, but I'll tell you, this family is complicated. So, Jolene is the daughter of Jotaro, but is the grandniece of Giorno, who is the son of Dio, who used Jonathan's body.
Okay. I actually know most of those names, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It does sound cool. Like, I And I heard she's a pretty good stand user, right? Like people like, and man, like let me tell you, Mono a Mono, I'm down bad, bro. I'm just gonna say, bro, I'm just down bad. But yeah, I'm interested now because of Stone Ocean. But man, it just the first 3 parts look so bad.
Yeah, that's the one thing about JoJo's. Like, if you can get past like part 1, 2, and 3, you're already in the long run. Well, especially if you go in like from part 3. Like, if you already went part 1 and 2, you're in. You're probably in here for the long run. Part 4, everyone's favorite. I kind of don't find it. It's like a slow beginning because there's not really a villain. Part 5, really great. You like the characters. Part 6, I haven't read the manga. I'm an anime only guy, but Bizcord, who I had on this channel, he actually said that the reason why it's actually like the second worst, but that's only because they kind of do they kind of do something similar to part 1. If you watch part 1, you kind of you actually no, even if you JoJo is a series where I could tell you anything about it, and honestly, you'll still be like, okay.
Okay.
So I would only have to go into depth into what happens in order to tell you what happens.
No, yeah, that's all good. How do we get here, by the way? I don't even remember the question anymore. I don't know why we have JoJo's.
It's this fandom, and I'm a JoJo fanboy. So.
Oh, fandom. Yeah, I like to make fun of the JoJo fandom.
Yeah, I'm not.
My favorite meme
guy.
is
I'm not a heavy guy.
JoJo fans when they.
Oh.
JoJo fans when they.
Yeah.
I think that shit is funny, like very funny.
It's funny, and, like, but it's true.
Hey, bro, that's why it's funny. But I mean, oh God, I don't really explicitly associate myself with many fandoms, and I guess the moments I do are when I'm considering myself as a Naruto fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, fandoms fucking suck.
Yeah, I don't really get into the community, but like, if a new JoJo part's being announced, I'm like, all right, time to get excited. All right, let's get into the final question. And if you say One Piece, you are no longer my favorite guest. What is an anime you think is overrated? Or manga?
Overrated anime. I kind of want to do anime. Let me just like really briefly scan the AniList to see if there's anything that fits that criteria more explicitly than the thing I'm thinking about right now. Because I have one in mind. I just feel like there's worse. Okay, maybe like a lesser known anime would be that I think is overrated. Okay, so I kind of have 3 right now.
Okay.
I'll briefly go over like the first 2, then I'll say something more substantial about the other one.
All right.
If I can find it fast enough. Sorry, I'm on the end of this. I can visualize the name and the actual picture next to it, but finding it, that's another issue entirely. Yeah. I found it. Okay. Tsuki ga Kiri is the name of this anime. It's 12 episodes. This is like a rom-com, I think. I watched it with my girlfriend, and like it's currently at like an 80% on AniList. I have it out of 5. Like,
Can you explain this one? I might not know this. Yeah.
God, can I explain this one? Is the question. How about this? I'll read you the AniList bio. The series focuses on characters Akane Mizuno and Kotaru Azumi, 2 third-year middle school students who became classmates for the first time. The series will depict each character's growth and connection to people around them, such as classmates, clubmates, teachers, and parents. The anime will also center on youthful adolescence romance. It literally just sounds like every other romance that you can imagine, because it is. It's exactly that. But people, for some reason, particularly love this. There's a scene at the end where like the main guy's like on a train and like screaming out, crying or something, and people like that. I think it's dumb. I think it's corny. I don't think it does anything new or unique. It's just like a fucking lame rom-com. But people love it. Like I genuinely do not understand why people love it as much as they do. Okay. It's not even like being bad faith or being contrarian. Like I just don't get it.
Okay.
But that's not a super popular one. So maybe I'll give you one more that I think is probably more popular.
Okay.
And I have two in mind. I gotta be careful which one I choose. I'm gonna say, okay, Hunter x Hunter. I am well known for my Hunter x Hunter slander.
We are in agreement. I also thought it was overrated.
Yeah. Like, I think Yorknu is great. I think it's probably one of my favorite battle shonen arcs of all time. The locus of my, I guess, hatred, that's a little strong. I don't think it's a hatred, but the locus of my disappointment is with the Chimera Ant arc. Oh. Because listen, yeah, no, you exactly. People love it. Like, this is, for many people, the best arc in anime. Like, just period. Not even just battle show. Like, it's like an anime, and I just don't get it. Because I think there are some really great peaks. You know, Netero versus Meruem, great. Gon versus Pito, great. Gon's rage is an amazing scene, and likewise with Meruem's death, it's a great scene, and his character overall is great. But like, that's it. It's like 60 episodes, and that's it. Like, everything else is just like, come on, get on with it already. Like, holy fuck, get to the good shit, man. 3 episodes going up the stairs, you know what I mean? Yeah. People like to, repeat this ad nauseum, but for a good reason. It's like, 3 episodes get up a flight of stairs. Like, why the fuck? Like, in what world do we need that? Yeah, sure, there's some interesting attention to detail, but to me, that's at the expense of the viewer's pleasure. I'm the viewer in this case, and I just think that really brings down how good this arc could have been. Yeah. If this arc was like 20 episodes, I think this could have been top 10 worthy for sure. But as it exists right now, it just, there are things I can admire about it, but by and large, I just think it's pacing. This is the common critique, but the pacing is inadequate. I think that it could have been faster. It didn't need to be this slow. It was unnecessarily slow is my particular issue. Yeah. And it's just, I genuinely think the fourth Great Shinobi War is better than this. Yeah, there's some fucking dog shit scenes in the Great Shinobi War, much worse than anything in this arc. But by and large, it's just like the peaks aren't high enough for how much time we have to wait to get to them. Yeah. So it's one of those instances where, again, like, I have a lot of like psychological factors as to why I want to go against Hunter x Hunter. My favorite show is Naruto. People always charge Naruto with being the Hunter x Hunter ripoff. Of course, I'm going to want to try and defend Naruto over Hunter x Hunter. Yeah. Sure, I'm very translucent about the fact that this probably has some impact as to why I'm not as charitable to this as I could be. I think the fact still remains, however, that upon my viewing of this arc, I just could not conceptualize how this was anywhere near, the heights of Attack on Titan or Full Metal Alchemist, which I think to be genuinely amazing battle shonen. Yet people put all three of them together, and like, genuinely, I don't see it. I think Attack on Titan and Full Metal are like peak after peak after peak. I think that their themes are exceptional. And I think Hunter x Hunter has some good themes too, but just in execution, the pacing, like, it's great, but it's not legendary in the way these other two are. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Since actually this is a new year and I'm not going to edit any of this, so I'm just going to say, so to make sure that everyone is fully aware, and everyone who knows me, whenever I see a ReZero anime, know that I comment and say that is overrated. And I stick by that. Normally when I say stuff is mid, I usually are trolling, but when I actually am talking about ReZero, I really do mean it. I think ReZero is actually pretty boring.
I have zero incentive to watch that show. I'm sure it's fine, but damn, do I not care.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to do that, start off the year with a good one, and also see how many people will comment on this.
Yeah, start off the year with a bit of ReZero and Hunter x Hunter slander, and spend the whole time praising Yu-Gi-Oh! They're gonna love this one, I'm telling you, anime bro.
Yeah, they're gonna really love this one. I know I did.
I certainly did.
We both did. That's all that matters.
Yeah, fuck those guys that are watching this.
Yeah, seriously. But thank you so much for joining me.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was really fun, and like you, I never like talk about Yu-Gi-Oh with anybody because it's mostly like Bleach, Naruto, or like One Piece and stuff. It was really good talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm really proud of that. And
switch it up, man. We switched it up.
yeah. And I guess any final words before we actually end this video?
Make sure you subscribe to My Name is Doofy. It's currently, late November, and I'm not at 1,000 yet. If please, I'm just manifesting this in the new year. I hope that I will reach 1,000 before the year ends. So fucking subscribe, bro.
Yeah. If anyone else is, if this is after he reaches 1,000, then good job, man. You made 1,000. Good job.
Thanks. Sorry, I just vomited.
That's fine. But if he hasn't, then come on, man. Subscribe. This guy was really amazing. He talks about nostalgia and he doesn't really care about it. Everyone should support this guy. And yeah, thank you everybody who are actually watching to the very end of this long video. This is really long. This is the longest I've ever did. But also, we were joking about all that. Like, we care about our opinions a lot, but, please like, share, and subscribe. I also want the support, too. I'm not even at 100 yet. I want that. I want that 100 milestone. And, yeah. Just thank you, everybody. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.